and there was the formation of Malaysia. This whereby the Federation of Malaya, the Malay states just now in the Malaysia, has merged together with Borneo, Sarawak, and Singapore. So it's very interesting to note, everyone, Singapore was part of Malaysia back then. Okay, however, langit tidak selalu cerah. Dan pada akhirnya mereka tidak baik yang mana Singapore pada akhirnya in 1965 decided to be separated from Malaysia. Okay, so that's why now what only left is only all the previous Straits Settlement Federation, as well as Sabah and Sarawak. So now we have the 13 states plus the 3 federal territories in Malaysia. Okay, so that is about the historical development. So you can see that, you can recap, initially in the medieval Malay period, okay, the law is much influenced by the Hinduism, and then comes the rise of Malay Sultanate, whereby the Islamic law has been introduced throughout the Malay states, and it was implemented. Islamic law was actually implemented together with the Malay custom. And then comes the British era. Okay, somehow they have limited the Islamic law. Okay, everything will be based on the English law, except on those personal matters. So now what we have in our current Malaysian legal system is like this. Coming slide next, please. So as we know just now, we are a federation, yeah. So we have previously independent states. We have the Malay states, we have the Straits Settlement, Borneo, and we have Sarawak. So that's why now in Malaysia we have 2 levels of government, at the federal level and at the state level. So at the federal level, okay, so we have the federal constitution. So federal constitution is the law. So anything, it cannot go against our federal constitution. So the stooping head of the federation now is the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. So Yang di-Pertuan Agong is actually remember we have Malaysia just now, we have 9 Malay rulers. So and now at the present, the 9 Malay rulers still have the power on rotation. Okay, every 5 years, one of them will be elected as the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and they will become the supreme head of the federation. But of course, even though they are being the supreme head of the federation, but they have no absolute power. Okay, they are in Malaysia, dikenali sebagai Raja Berperlembagaan. So the king will have to act accordingly to what are the powers given under the federal constitution. So under the federal under Yang di-Pertuan Agong, there are the 3 branches of government organs. We have the executive, means the ministers, the cabinet ministers, and then we have the legislative, the body who do the law, and we have judiciary. Alright, so in Malaysia we do practice separation of powers, means that there are separation between these organs of government. However, as Malaysia, we don't actually, even though we have this separation of power, but it's not an absolute separation of power, meaning that what we have now, okay, to ensure the democracy is there, we have an independent judiciary. However, in terms of executive and legislative, they are actually overlapping. So the executive, the minister are also part of the legislative, members of the parliament. Okay, the idea is that, because first we are following the UK style, this is known as the Westminster system, and the idea is that why the executive should be the member of the parliament as well, because we want to increase their accountability. So it means that any act of the executive, any act of the minister or the ministry, it can be questioned in the parliament directly. So that is the idea, why we don't have absolute separation of power. Alright, so that is at the federal level. Now at the state level, we also have each state has their own autonomy. So each state will have their state constitution, each state have their sultan, and then also they have their own state executive and state legislative assembly. But it's just that our judiciary remain federalized, so everything will go to that judiciary. Okay, next please. So in Malaysia, when we talk about the body who in the law, at the federal level, it will be the parliament. So parliament means comprises of three. First is the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, is part of the body who actually making law. Then we have the Dewan Negara, and we have a Dewan Rakyat. Okay, so usually what will happen is that the law will go to Dewan Rakyat first. After it has passed by the Dewan Rakyat, it will go to Dewan Negara. After it has passed by both two houses here of the parliament, then they will get the royal assent from the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Okay, next please. So this is actually the difference between Dewan Rakyat and Dewan Negara. So Dewan Rakyat are the 222 elected members. So they represent the electoral constituency. So we have what we call that pilihan raya, everything. So during that time they will elect these members of the Dewan Rakyat. Okay, and these members were elected every 5 years, and there is no bar to the number of terms that they may serve. Okay, unlike Dewan Negara, they have a very limited number. They only have 17 members. Okay, which 44 of them are senators, which are appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, as well as the other 26 state senators. So 2 from each state appointed by the respective state assemblies just now. So the Dewan Negara senators here, okay, the members here, okay, they serve actually more on the interests of the states, minorities, and also central groups. So the term of office of a senator is 3 years, and they can be the only one. So it means that if a person is elected as a Dewan Negara member, they only have one term, 3 years plus one. So maximum is only for 10 years. Okay, next please. Alright, so this is actually the division of power between the federal and state. And in some area, okay, the federal and the state would have what we call that concurrent power. So for the federalists, anything to do with armed forces, criminal police, legislation, civil, and others, this fall under the federalists. So this can be looked into in our 9th schedule of the Constitution. Whereas it's more concerning on Islamic law relating to succession, matrimonial, marriage, divorce, and others. Okay, so that's why this is a very high implication here, because that's why in Malaysia the Sharia law is not something that it has administered by in the federal level, but it actually belongs to the state power. Each state will have a different law in the Sharia matters. Okay. Alright, and on concurrent list there, matters pertaining to scholarship, protection for animal, town and planning, that one will be, they share the power between the federal and also the state. Okay, to learn further, you look at our constitution, the federal constitution, schedule 9. Okay, next please. Alright, now coming to the judiciary is very important. Okay, judiciary is one of the important organ of a government. Right? So the judiciary is governed by purposes of the Constitution. So we have the Federal Court, the Court of Appeal, and the 2 High Courts. Okay, the 2 High Courts is Sabah and Sarawak. I am sorry, I'm not sure why again my laptop is having trouble. They are restarting. I'm sorry, one moment. very sorry. I'm not sure why suddenly my laptop today is not cooperating well. Okay, so next please. So basically, this is the hierarchy of courts in Malaysia. Okay, so the apex court of Malaysia will be the federal court. Then comes the court of appeal, and we have the two high courts here. Okay, High Court of Malaya and High Court of Sabah and Sarawak. Then we do have our subordinate court, which are session court and district court. So to determine which court would have jurisdiction, it depends on the subject matter. Yeah, I'm not going to elaborate further on this because I think if I were to elaborate this, the lecture will be until tomorrow. Okay, next please. Now, it's a very important point that I want since the British administration, okay, the Islamic law restricted. Okay, so as